Good evening. It is a pleasure to be before you. I am Delayna K. Watkins, and I am one of the Sorority of Survivors sisters. And tonight, my presentation is Mind Your Body and Your Business. So sit back and relax because for the next 45 minutes or so, I am going to share some health strategies with you that will help to up level the bottom line. And this is going to come from my entrepreneurial experience that I've shared, as well as me being a nurse, lifestyle, and weight management specialist. The tips that I'm going to share with you tonight will definitely change the trajectory of your business so that you are successful and able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Before I begin, and before I forget, I want to say thank you to both Odessa Hopkins for her vision and to Rhea Hodge for her talents behind the scenes so that I could bring this broadcast to you. So I appreciate both of you. And now I want to start by sharing with you my entrepreneurial journey because that is truly where these health strategies came from, and it's part of what allowed me to know what works so that I could share with you things that I know for a fact that I have instituted that have been successful. I started my business about 6 years ago now. More or less, it was a vision that I kind of undertook and said, okay, this is what I feel like I need to do so that I could change the lives and make an impact. And that thought came to me when I was a healthcare nurse and I was going into homes and seeing patients that looked like me, that looked like they could have been my sister or my neighbor. And unfortunately, they were suffering irreversible illnesses that basically could have just been prevented had they had the knowledge and the ability to make decisions to prevent those illnesses to begin with. So that alone allowed me to know that there was a need in the community, and I began slowly but surely figuring out a way to make that impact. And so my business was initially called Healthy Soul, and then it evolved into what is now known as Total Woman Wellness so that I could speak to women on a larger scale and not just one-to-one. And then my speaking career kind of took off from there and helped me to really build a platform to reach women, not only just entrepreneurs, who now is my main audience, entrepreneurs and business owners, but just women in general, regardless of whether or not you're an entrepreneur, mompreneur. We need to make sure that we're leaving a healthy legacy for our families. So my shift came back in 2012 on Valentine's Day. That's right, February the 14th, 2012. I experienced probably one of the scariest health scares that my family has witnessed. I was home alone working on a project because it was launch day. I had been working on this project for about 30 days, and it was due to launch on Valentine's Day because it was a project that dealt with heart health. And for 2 weeks straight, I probably got maybe 30, 40 hours of sleep in the total of those 2 weeks. There were just deadlines and things that I needed to get done. And I was truly neglecting not only my sleep, but my eating habits, not really being physically active like I was used to. And it really took a toll on me. And so Valentine's Day, my husband comes home all excited because we had plans to celebrate Valentine's Day, only to find his wife on the floor in the office. And so all I remember is just being whisked away in an ambulance and, being at the hospital. And it was determined that I basically was just exhausted and dehydrated and just needed to relax. So that not only shifted how we celebrated Valentine's Day that particular year, but it also was a shift for me in how I operated in my business going forward and developed these health strategies as a result. So I want to share with you so that you don't have to experience that, and so that you can continue to operate and work in your business so that your business will continue to thrive along with your health. And I'm going to share what that entrepreneurial health journey looks like for us all. So here's a PowerPoint which will outline exactly what it looks like. And it'll show phases 1, 2, and 3. And based upon these phases of what I went through during the time for the startup of my business, clear through the time when I realized that there was something going on with me. And in phase 1, cash is tight, obviously, because you're starting out, you're just getting things going. You have this bright idea for what it is that you want to share. Again, your passion, your purpose, wanting to serve others. You have this college style eating going on. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Let's get it done. Oodles and noodles. Yeah, that's good. That makes a little sponge in your stomach. It's, stopping the growling from going on. It's quick. Microwavable meals, they're quick. That's the type of eating that you have going on. No time for fun. Fun when even if you're in a situation where you are thinking that you're having fun, your mind is back to your business. Like you feel as though I shouldn't be here. I need to be home working on my business or at the office working in my business. Physical activity decline. I was a very active person before I started my business, and I can tell you in the very beginning, physical activity was definitely not something that I engaged in. If I did, it was very little, and it was usually at the kids' prompting. It was something maybe that they were doing that I engaged in. Stress begins to mount because, again, you've taken on this responsibility of starting a business and you want it to be successful. Sleep declines because you have things to do. This business has to be successful because you're starting it. It is, again, your passion, your vision. And then this is where the path to being unhealthy is set right here. And this typically is about 3 to 4 months into it, on up to about 6 months. So anywhere in that time frame is when you're in phase 1. Phase 2 is pretty much going to piggyback off of phase 1. 24/7 focus on your business. You're continuing with the quick and easy food choices because remember, in phase 1, it worked. Things are starting to come together. You're starting to see the fruits of your labor. No physical activity generally at all. You're up, you're getting ready for the day. Your physical activity may be you doing the laundry or doing your household chores, tending to the kids' activities, something like that, but no real effort goes into physical activity. Your stress continues to mount from phase 1, clear on into phase 2. You're beginning to adapt and adjust. And so stress just becomes part of the norm that you're able to kind of function in that arena. Sleep becomes overrated. Unfortunately, you think, okay, I can burn the candle at both ends. I remember seeing someone put a quote out there that entrepreneurs don't sleep, we grind, we hustle. And so that's the mindset that you begin to develop. Coffee sustains you. You're burning the candle at both ends. You need that caffeine jolt and that rush of energy to keep you going so that a yawn doesn't really mean a yawn. A yawn is like, your your thing to say, okay, keep going. Your body's tired, but your mind is still clicking. And then your business is growing. So what do you think that means? That means that you're on the right path, right? So everything that you're doing as far as not eating right, stress is at the all-time high, sleep is being overrated, your business is doing great. That project of mine was launching come hella high water. And I just knew that what I had done leading up to here was all well worth it. And so therefore I didn't look back. Phase 3 comes, but guess what? There's no time to celebrate next level goals because I've already decided that I've done such a great job with the way things have gone all along that I can continue on this path of not getting any sleep, eating what I want, high levels of stress. So I just continue. But I have thoughts like once I finish this book, launch this next product, then I will go back to eating properly, getting more sleep, going back to the gym. So those are the type of thoughts that you begin to have in your head. Instead, you work harder and longer. Why? Because the carrot of success is always dangling. So you are always wanting more. You see the success because in phase 2, you experienced it. So in order for it to continue, you begin to grind harder. But let me share something with you. Let me just show you what exactly you need to do. You need to have a wellness plan. That entrepreneurial health is a path to disaster. You need to make sure that you have a wellness plan. So in the chat group, I want you to put wellness plan and then put vision, mission, plan, and goals. And yes, I said plan before goals. You have to make sure that you have a plan, and then from that, you will develop the goals. So that's a little bit of a different mindset when you think about your wellness plan. And guess what, ladies? It very much mirrors a business plan. When you think of your business plan, you think of your vision statement, your mission statement, your plan, and then the goals for your business. So that's the same mindset that you have to have around your wellness plan, because here's the fact. In corporate America, they have wellness plans for their employees, but don't think for a second that that wellness plan that they have for their employees truly is meant for the good of the employees. At the end of the day, what they're looking at whether or not their business is successful. In other words, they don't want to they don't want to employ people who they feel are not capable of sustaining the job or healthy enough to do the job. And so having a physical before you start work, having annual physicals, the bottom line of it is they want to make certain that you are healthy enough to fulfill the role in which you were hired to do. So that if you aren't, that means time off, that means calling in sick, having another employee pick up your role and responsibilities, or hiring a temporary person. What do you think that affects in corporate America? That affects their bottom line. Well, the same thing goes for you in your business. Are you healthy enough to hire you? Are you healthy enough to be in business? That's how you have to think of it when you look at your wellness plan. You have to make sure that you are healthy enough to sustain your business and that you're getting your proper checkups, that you are in a state of health so that your business can flourish, so that your bottom line reflects the fact that you're healthy enough to work in your business. So that's how you have to think of it. There are no sick days, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you have to work in your business oftentimes when you are sick, when you're not feeling 100%. And that's sort of the same expectation that when you're working at a company or when you're working for corporate America, that's sort of the same type of mindset that they have. They want to have the healthiest employees because healthy people work well. And so that's the mindset that you have to have when you're in business for yourself, as an entrepreneur, business owner. The same thing, you work at 100% capacity when you are feeling at your most best. And so in order for us to do that, I want to look at what it takes for that to happen. And action is what's required in order for you to get the results that you desire. And so we're going to take a look at that and then move right into what those health strategies are. If I can get my screen to share with you again so that we can see the PowerPoint for the next part of the presentation so that you can follow along with what those health strategies are. And that's it, ladies. Action is required to receive the healthy outcomes you deserve. And that is my quote from the Total Woman. So all of that I said before we got to the health strategies really was just the prep work to share where it is that you need to be in your mindset so that you can embrace these health strategies. And we started off with sleep. Go figure. Now, I shared my story with you of how things shifted for me on Valentine's Day because I was lacking sleep. We need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So in the chat room, I want you to put how much sleep you feel that you've gotten in the last week. Do you feel that you've had ample enough sleep in this last week? And when I talk about sleep, you have to make sure that you understand that restful sleep occurs roughly 1.5 to 2 hours after you retire and lay down for the evening. You get into what's called rapid eye movement or REM sleep. Have you ever awakened the following morning after you've been to sleep, but you wake up tired, feeling like you've never went to sleep when you really was asleep for, let's say, maybe 7 hours? That's because you probably never got to what's called REM sleep, or the restful part of our sleep. That's where you're able to dream. That's where dreaming occurs. So if you don't get to that place in your sleep and your mind's constantly clicking and ticking, then you never really got to sleep. Your body laid down probably and relaxed, but you didn't quite get what's called quality sleep in the REM sleep. So ladies, you have to make sure that you're getting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Now, what I recommend to do that is to have a wind down window. A wind down window occurs roughly 30 to 45 minutes before you retire for the evening. What you do is you shut off all electronics, cell phones, television, iPad, laptops, everything that keeps us connected to the outside world, and getting to a place of being present in the moment. So this is a good time to meditate or to show gratitude just before you retire for the evening, to reflect on how your day went so that you can leave all of that stuff right there. Prior to me making this shift, I can tell you, I would sit up. Sometimes when I was supposed to be asleep, I would have this notepad next to my bed. An idea would pop into my head, and I would get up and write it down. So that not only was causing me to break my sleep, but I don't believe I ever got to REM sleep, which is why I would always wake up tired in the morning, because my mind was constantly thinking about the things that were left undone. So when you think about sleep, get 7 to 8 hours, give yourself a wind down window. So I want to see, after this broadcast is over, I'm going to go into the chat room. I want to see how many of you out there are actually getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because this is where your body rejuvenates. This is where your body gets the energy that it needs to function for us when we awake in the morning. So the next health strategy is eat. What you eat is as important as how often you eat. So here, ladies, we follow the 80-20 rule, and that is eating healthy 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time you have what I call the wiggle room to kind of, maybe not eat so healthy, where your selection of food wouldn't be what I would consider healthy. And that's going to be two things that I'm going to share with you, and that is the crow and the crap. So write down CRAP, C-R-A-P. CRAP stands for chemical, refined, artificial, and processed. You want to eliminate those foods from your diet as much as often, and then eventually altogether from your diet. They serve your body no purpose at all. They're usually nutrient dense type foods, and that's going to be our cookies, cupcakes, donuts, those types of things that we oftentimes crave, because our body is, unfortunately gotten used to that, because that's what we've been feeding it all along, for usually, those sugar cravings, and to get the sugar rushes, the carb loading, and things like that, that has sustained us up until this point. But after tonight's presentation, you're going to learn how to turn that off, because you're going to incorporate these health strategies. So the crow stands for clean, raw, organic, and whole. So you want to eat 80% of your food should come from a plant, be raw, organic, or whole. That's clean eating, not crap eating. So that's how we think of it in terms of making sure that you eat what I call the entrepreneurial diet, ladies. So entrepreneurial diet is to eat 6 times a day, 6 small meals, and generally I eat anywhere from 3 to 4 times every 3 to 4 hours, I should say, throughout the day, and that helps to keep my body sustained. I don't experience sugar spikes and sugar dips, and then you go in search of that, Snicker bar or something, whatever it is that you crave, something sweet, something salty. That prevents that. So if you think in terms of eating, normally we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but if you think in terms of eating 6 small healthy meals and a fruit or a vegetable with each included, that helps you to get your 6 to 7 servings of fruit a day, preferably striving for the 7 fruits and veggies per day. So again, 80-20 rule, eat crow, don't eat crap. So if you think about your plate when you're eating, you want it to be as colorful as possible. The other thing when we think about eating is making sure that you drink water. 8 glasses is the recommended amount that every woman should be, well, actually everybody, but every woman definitely drink 8 glasses of water a day. I drink more than that, but again, when we're talking about you starting on your healthy journey, 8 glasses of water is what you should strive for. And if you're a fruit juice drinker or a coffee drinker, how you begin on this journey is simply begin to substitute out one of your coffees for water, one of your fruit juices for water. Especially if you are a Diet Coke or a Coke drinker, definitely try to substitute that out immediately as soon as you can, because that truly really serves you no purpose at all. It is full of a lot of toxins and a lot of artificial sweeteners and things like that. So that falls in the category of the crap pile when we think of what we're eating, what we're taking in. Because here's what you want, lady. You want to make sure that you're feeding your body the food and the nutrients that it is required to help you be creative, continue on in your business, and kind of make sure that everything that you do comes to fruition. And the only way to do that is to feed it what it requires, not always what it desires. So I'll say that again. Feed your body what it requires, not always what it desires, because our bodies sometimes will desire things that we know are not healthy for us. So in the chat room for hashtag eat healthy, I want you to write down what you had for breakfast this morning, because I know you've heard this before. Breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day. So when we have breakfast, breakfast is breaking the fast. So identify what you had for breakfast, and then after the broadcast, I'll go in there and I'll even share some healthy breakfast things that you can eat, because we're always busy and I know some of us are on the go. And I'll just go in there and share some quick things that you could do to food prep, maybe even the night before, to help you in the morning so that it doesn't seem like a daunting task for you to grab something healthy and keep it moving during the day. All right, so the next health strategy is move. Move, ladies, that's right. Move, move, move. Now, when we talk about moving, of course, the minimum time that you should spend moving is going to be 30 minutes a day for 3 days out of the week. As I said, that is the absolute minimum that you want to move. I strive for 5 days a week, generally 60 minutes a day. That's what I have gotten myself up to. Again, remember in 2012, that was not my entrepreneurial walk. Remember phase one, my activity was starting to kind of really diminish. Phase two, it truly was non-existent. And phase three just capitalized off of phase one and two. So when you think about moving, think about where you are for pretty much the bulk of your day. If you are an entrepreneur that works from home and you're not in an office setting, then most certainly what you can do, and I'm sitting in a chair, so there are exercises and things that you can do throughout the day that will help to keep the blood circulating, that will help you to move and sustain, movement in your body, and then you'll reap the benefits from it. Because when you move and when you increase that heart rate, what's happening is you're releasing endorphins and you're releasing your creativity, because you're disconnecting your mind from the activity that you're performing. So just if you're simply sitting in a chair, you can do squats, and squats can consist of you standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down, doing a squat right here in the chair that you're sitting in. And all of you who follow me know I am the squat queen. I love a squat. I take every opportunity to do a squat. With first thing in the morning when I get up, when I go to the bathroom, I'm doing squats, because I'm getting my body up. I'm getting my body, not only thanking God that I'm able to get up and put both of my feet on the ground to get moving for the day. It's all part of, me waking up and giving thanks to God. And in doing so, I say, yes, my feet work, my legs work, and I thank you for that. So as a result, I'm definitely going to make sure I'm treating my body well. And so doing squats and, jumping jacks and kind of getting myself going. And that's how I do, get myself motivated for the day. But if you're sitting, once you go through all of that, if you're sitting for long periods of time, that's exactly what you can do. Do squats. The other thing that you can do, again, not even leaving your chair, is to do toe raises. And that works your lower half, your calf muscles. Again, also increasing blood circulation to the lower body. You can also do what I call leg kicks, and that is sitting down and just pushing your legs out in front of you, bringing them back, legs out in front of you, bringing them back. That works your quads, your hamstring area, and the lower legs. And guess what? You have not left your chair. Again, you're sitting. Remember, you should be drinking water, so you can take your water bottle, stapler, whatever you have at your disposal. If you're at your desk, take those, and there you have it. Use your own body weight if you don't have anything, if you don't have any object in your hand, and just do some arm raises. Okay? This works your shoulder area and your deltoids, and it's just allowing you to disconnect for a moment, as I said before, and think about you and remember that you're trying to work your body. Okay? So during an 8-hour day, all it takes is out of that 8 hours, every hour, if you just take 5 minutes to do some type of physical movement, within 6 hours, you will have done 30 minutes. We all can commit to that, right, ladies? Now, my preferred method is that you do 30 minutes at one sitting. But however, on this entrepreneurial journey, as you're beginning to take on the responsibilities of embracing these health strategies, we'll take what we can get, right? So if 5 minutes every hour, which is approximately a commercial break, then do that. And then, be consistent with it. And then you'll find yourself looking for ways to incorporate activity into everything that you're doing as far as physical movement is concerned, because the benefits truly outweigh you not feeling well, feeling sluggish, and not being as creative because you're not getting in that mode of moving. The other thing is I like to tie it into fitness and fiscal. So when you think of fitness, think of the bottom line, which is your fiscal goals. So tying your fitness level and your fitness with your movement into your fiscal goals, knowing that if you move, you're more creative, you're more productive, that ties into your bottom line. So when we think about that money, we want to move then, right? We want to think of how creative we can be with that and how we can tie it in. Even if, you're still working in corporate America, or even if you are at home as a mompreneur, entrepreneur, set a timer and say, okay, during lunch, I'm going to, go for a walk and then come back and have my lunch, a healthy lunch, of course, and then get back engaged into your work, and at least try to strive to do that 3 times a week. And before you know it, it will become part of your journey, and it'll become part of what you look forward to doing, because I guarantee you, disconnecting and being able to walk away, especially if you're right in the midst of, a project or, working on something, being able to disconnect from that and work out and do some physical activity, there's nothing like it. I've seen people quote saying that physical activity or exercise is like the best therapy, and it truly is. Once you do it and you really get used to doing it, you will see the benefits of it. And I know I tied it to the fiscal goals, which ties it, again, to money and to your outcomes. But at the same time, physically, you'll reap the benefits of doing it. So in the chat room for the health strategy of move, I want you to say hashtag move more, and then identify some ways in which you can move more. And it's very simple. I always like to say that turn a simple activity into an exercise or into a movement. I share the story of when you're doing your laundry, you're putting your laundry into the wash, or if you're putting it into the dryer, squat in between each time you move from one, machine to the next. Or when you're folding your clothes, you're folding your clothes. So after you fold each piece, do above the head raise, or do a squat, or do a jumping jack, whatever. You're already doing these activities. So incorporate those types of movements so that they're purposeful movements along with your necessary activity that you're doing, so that in your mind, you're not thinking it's one more thing that I have to do. What you're doing is you're incorporating that activity into something that you're already doing. The other thing to help to incorporate movement is to blend. With blending, my family learned to blend, especially when my kids had practices where they had to be a certain place. And especially if I was stuck, again, in front of the computer on a project, I would take my computer and I would, kind of log off and say, okay, I'm going to stop here, knowing that I had not done my physical activity for the day. So I would take my son to his baseball practice, and while he was doing his baseball, I would jog or, run, do my side lunges, jump off his bench and do my, squats and things like that. So I learned to blend along with getting in my family time so that I could, again, balance things properly so that I was giving the time and attention that each of those areas of my life deserved. And again, I wasn't always there. That wasn't always the case. Sometimes, again, before that incident in 2012, my laptop was with me on the baseball field, as I'm sitting there watching my son, and I was not doing, the running, the jogging, the lunges, and all of that on the sidelines. There was none of that was there. It was me clocking as many hours on that project or whatever it was I was working on, even working with the client, whatever I was doing, that took precedence over me focusing on my health and or balance and time spent with family. So those are just a few examples of how you can incorporate what you're doing and not really have it feel as though it's one more thing that you have to do. So let's move on to the next strategy, and that is stress. Yay, we all know what stress is, and why is she so happy to talk about stress? Because stress is really a good thing. It's distress that becomes a problem. So stress occurs when the demand is greater than your ability. I'm going to say that again. Stress occurs when the demand is greater than your ability. So when you have too many responsibilities that has your name written all over it, that's when stress occurs. And so we get into this place of what I have called the ozone. So I'm going to show you what the ozone looks like. And we do not want to be in the ozone, lady. This is where a lot of our stress comes from because we become yes ma'ams, and we need to learn to say no, and that no is a complete word, and we're okay with that. Overwhelmed, overworked, overcommitted, and overextended. That's what the ozone looks like, and we don't want any parts of it. In between that, we have heart disease, stroke, cancer, and diabetes. This is what you leave yourself open for if your body stays in a state of being stressed and moved into what's called distress. The normal stress is called eustress, and it's spelled EU, stress. And so that's the normal stress. That's the stress that helps you to get things done. If you're planning for a wedding or a big family vacation, you have deadlines, something happy that you're working on, maybe a paper for a class that you're taking, a project or something like that. That's the type of stress that will get you to meet that deadline or get you to plan that vacation and get things done, to get the packing done, to get the family to the airport so that you can go on the vacation, right? That's that kind of stress that doesn't become distress because there's an end point to it, and what steps to take to get you there. It's when we overwhelm ourselves from being overworked and overcommitted because we say yes to too many things, especially when we know that our plate is already too full. So how do we avoid getting into the ozone? How do we avoid saying yes to too many things? Aside from knowing that no is a complete sentence, and even as you're working your way to say no, especially to those individuals that you're used to saying yes to, what you can say is not right now. And that gives gives you kind of that edge up to be able to think things over and decide whether or not you want to commit to whatever that particular thing is. Now, I suggest doing the do, delegate, and delete method in order to avoid you becoming overextended and overwhelmed. So you're not going to commit, right? So since we learned how to say no and we're not overcommitting, now in order for us to not get overextended and overwhelmed, we're going to learn that we are not the only person in the house that can do certain things and have it turn out right, and that other people can wash the dishes, make up the bed, do the laundry. Might not be done to your perfection. However, it's okay for them to do it. So the principles of do, delegate, and delete, I want you to write that down, ladies. Do, delegate, and delete. You're either going to do it, delegate it to someone else to be done, or delete it because it doesn't have significance right now at this particular time. That's to avoid that carryover. That's where stress comes in because we get overwhelmed and then we become overextended. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways in which you can practice safe stress. So I want you to put in the chat room hashtag safe stress, and I want you to Identify out of these few that I'm going to share with you what it is that you feel like you are capable of committing yourself to avoid getting into distress. The first one is count your blessings. Being grateful can help calm you down. People who focus on feeling grateful at bedtime are less worried and anxious, and their overall sleep quality is improved. Now, that right there goes back to the first health strategy. Remember, I said that wind down window? So, counting your blessings, being grateful, focusing on what you did get accomplished during the day, that helps to decrease your worry and anxiety. Stop the chaos. Analyze your schedule and reduce stress by prioritizing and organizing your responsibilities. Ladies, cut it out. Again, we cannot be all to everyone. So, this is where we get rid of the disease to please. Right here, stop the chaos. Get rid of the disease to please. You cannot do it all. So, don't even think that you can, and stop allowing others to feel as though you're the one stop shop and make no part of your vocabulary. Break a sweat. That goes back to health strategy number 3. Physical exercise, as I said before, reduces the stress related tensions in your body, which can improve your health and promote the natural feel good chemicals in your bodies. And that's that endorphins that I talked about. Eat your veggies. I said that to you before. See, all of this, ladies, as you can see, it's all related. Eating a balanced diet rich in fresh fruits and vegetables help to maintain a healthy body. This way, again, when you're asking your body to show up for you and, work those longer hours, longer days, do that extra thing, it shows up because you're feeding it a proper balanced diet. And then blow it off. This is one of my favorites. Since breathing comes naturally, deep breathing is often overlooked as an exercise, but it's an excellent stress reducer. And how you do proper breathing is to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. That right there, doing that a few times will help to once again bring you centered and allow you to blow it off. And then the last one that I'll share with you is let yourself off the hook. Again, don't overcommit. Stop taking on tasks that belong to others. And we are famous for doing that, ladies. We know good and well that sometimes there are things that we should not be doing, that we end up saying yes to, and then we overcommit ourselves and get ourselves right back in that ozone. Well, after today, you have some strategies that you can practice. There's some that others that you may come up with or that work well for you. Continue to institute them and know that they work well. So being able to identify what they are, that's the biggest key. And then having what I call your ammunition in your bag, which is when stress occurs, okay, what exactly am I going to do? How am I going to handle that? So that's where those practicing safe stress strategies that I just shared, that's where that comes into effect. Because in order for you to really be effective and really be creative, you have to be in a space where you don't operate in stress. And so that demand should never get greater than your ability. Again, that's where stress is. That's what stress means. And then the last key that I want to share is lifestyle. Lifestyle, that's right, ladies. When you make it part of your lifestyle, and that's why I'm able to sit before you and share that I am in a place of this being my lifestyle. All those strategies that I just shared, they come to me second nature because since 2012, that has been my journey, and it is a journey. You will find days and times when it's not always, easy, but again, you have that foundation in the wellness plan that we identify of your vision, excuse me, your mission, your plan, and your goals. And so you just go back to that. Just like with your business plan, you go back to that when things shift or change. So when, things start to shift and change in your life, you just go back to the wellness plan, and that'll keep you on track to say, why am I doing this? Where am I? And what is it that I set out to do? And then that will help you to get back on track. Remember, because it's your wellness plan, which is why in the beginning I said this has to be about you so that you can embrace it. So for your healthy lifestyle strategy, give yourself 90 days. It takes 30 days before you develop a habit, somewhere between 21 and 30 days, and then 60 days before you're disciplined behind that particular behavior. So let's say you want to work on eating a better diet, right? Give yourself 30 days before whatever that particular change is that you're attempting to make in your dietary habits. And then 60 days before you become disciplined. Let's say you eat a lot of fried foods, a lot of French fries, or potatoes, white rice, bread, and you say to yourself, okay, I want to try to cut out this category of foods, these things. Make a plan and then give yourself the really the proper time to do it, and know that if you mess up and you eat one week, you find yourself eating a lot of French fries, or a lot of white bread, or whatever the case may be. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just know that that's part of your goal, and that you're continuing to work on it, and figure out what it is that you need to do to get back on track. That's all. It's not a time to abandon what your initial plan is. You just decide what it is that I'm going to do to correct the behavior, and that's all. And then 90 days, it becomes your lifestyle. So 30 days is habit, 60 days discipline, 90 days lifestyle. 90 days. So each of these health strategies, between the sleep, the eating properly, the moving, the stress, then making it your lifestyle. And then as such, you will be able to operate from a place where you're just like loving this business thing, loving life, doing squats first thing in the morning, deciding that you have to go, upstairs and have a healthy breakfast before you get started. These become the things that sustain you. These become the things that you say, okay, there is a relationship between health and success. The healthier I feel, the more successful I am, and the better my business is as a result. It just becomes who you are. You see the fruits of your labor because you're experiencing it. It's not something that you brought to someone else so that they can experience it, and you say, okay, yeah, that was a great project. This is what you yourself will be experiencing as a result of the changes that you make with your health, with these different strategies that I shared. So again, that becomes part of your lifestyle. Now, the direct relationship that I just shared with health and success, it really does exist. You notice that there is more vibrancy and more vitality. You again, when I shared the entrepreneur health path, initially my mindset was what? Work harder, play later, right? Work harder, do what I need to do, make this business successful. And that was the mindset that most of us have. Most entrepreneurs and business owners throw themselves in 100% into their business, and we lose self in the business to make sure that it is successful. But tonight, I want you to think differently about that. And tonight, I want you to think that the mindset of being healthy, having vitality and vibrancy comes from you doing those 4 things that I shared that will then become a lifestyle, so that you're able to leave a healthy legacy and be successful in what it is that you started out in this journey for, because you certainly didn't start out to become an entrepreneur or business owner in order to, at the end of the day, not enjoy what it is that you're building, that empire, the empire. And so the carrot that I said before, that's always dangling before you, that carrot of success, eat that carrot, right? So that's your success, is to eat that carrot. It's good for you. That'll count as your veggie for the day. So one more time, I want to share just at the end, in closing, what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, and what it is that you need to make sure that you are possessing as an entrepreneur. So let's look at what that is. A healthy entrepreneur creates balance and embraces a healthy lifestyle while building a successful legacy. And that quote comes from the Total Woman. So look what you have there. You, as the healthy entrepreneur, knows how to create balance. You know how to embrace a healthy lifestyle, and you're building a successful legacy. And that's what all of this is about. And in the end, you up level that bottom line because you are able to implement those health strategies that become your lifestyle. So in the chat room, I would like for you to say, I am a healthy entrepreneur, and I embrace a healthy lifestyle. It has been wonderful spending time with you all here this evening on the Mind Your Body and Your Business broadcast. Again, I'm Delayna K. Watkins. You can find me on social media on Delayna K. Watkins, and I am always using the hashtag Total Woman. It has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you all this evening, and I'm going to be joining you in the chat room shortly, right at the conclusion of this broadcast. And you can also find me every Wednesday. We have a great time on the Total Woman Wellness Show, where we air every Wednesday, which I coined Wellness Wednesday, from 12 to 1 p.m. And we're on maywehelyouRadio.com. It's mwhyradio.com, and will next month be on iTunes. So you can also listen to past shows and download episodes that are of interest to you. The show basically is dedicated to women's total wellness, and that's mind, body, and spirit. I have a fitness and nutrition expert on during the day that come on and share a quick tip with you. We have an Ask the Nurse segment, so if there's any health, fitness, or wellness questions that you have, I'm always grateful to answer those for you online, and you can remain anonymous if you don't wish to share your name or contact information. And we also have a wellness word of the week. Remember, knowledge is power, but action is what get things done. And I, again, am Delayna K. Watkins. It has been my pleasure to serve you this evening. Join me over in the chat room so that we can continue the discussion about your health strategies and how you are going to embrace this new healthy lifestyle while up leveling your bottom line. Thank you all.